Vineet Nair, the head of HCL Technologies, Sachin Pilot, one of the youngest members of Parliament of India, Rajiv Bajaj, the head of Bajaj Auto, and Dennis McGuire, who heads TPI, one of the world's largest outsourcing advisory companies. My name is Sukumar and I work for a newspaper called Mint. The topic on which the speakers will be speaking and on which we hope there will be some level of discussion later on is global leadership, the next generation. I think it's fairly significant that we are discussing this topic today because the IT industry, to use a cliche, finds itself at the crossroads again. Every time it looks like the industry is coasting along and going from one strength to another, there is some challenge that comes up. Usually this challenge has to do with something that's not within the country's boundaries, and it usually involves the United States, which is the largest market for most of these companies. The crisis that the Indian IT industry went through in the early 2000s was brought about by changes in the US. The crisis that could emerge tomorrow for the Indian IT industry, if one does emerge, could again emanate from the United States. There is a parallel development that's been happening along with this, which is the development of these companies itself. No longer are Indian IT companies outsourcing vendors located here. I think the large Indian IT companies would like to call themselves global organizations. Some of the discussion today will be on what it takes to become a global organization. The companies in the world that started this trend of globalization were actually from the United States. After World War II, when the US economy started doing well, they looked to Europe because a lot of Americans had served in Europe and they thought they could sell their products there. And when companies like General Electric and Motorola sent their people to Europe, they found that it was a very different market. This led to a significant organizational change in that it created the concept of a country manager, which most of us are familiar with. The first country managers were country managers of US corporations in Europe. And even in India today, you'd find that there are a lot of multinationals that operate with country managers. And it's a structure that actually came into place as recently as 40, 50 years ago. Without much ado, we are going to get started with the topic. I'm going to ask Sachin to go first. He's going to speak about leadership from his perspective. And this perspective is very, very interesting and unique because he's a young leader in a country of young people, but he's also a young leader who's part of a government which is pretty old, because you don't find young politicians. So I think if someone can speak about leadership in the next generation, he's pretty well equipped to do it. Sachin?